Welcome back to my Texas Longhorns. Hook 'em. Way to come in, take care of business, do what you're supposed to do all the things. I love a game where they come in, take care of business, and it just keeps it moving. So shout out to the Texas Longhorns for practicing in the bye week, for coming out looking great on offense. Shout out to them for having 35 points at halftime. Shout out to them for having 2 turnovers in the first half. Shout out to the Texas Longhorns. They did every single thing I needed them to do today. I'm very happy. I don't have a lot of things to say. I actually get to record this video before the Colorado Buffaloes game comes on. So what? I can't say anything but way to go, Texas. I'm a proud Texas fan today. I am super glad they took care of business. I hope they enjoy the rest of today and enjoy the rest of tomorrow before they get down to business and think about Arkansas next week. There's not really much for me to say here, so let me just get into the other side of this video so I can nitpick at all the things that I saw today. Before I get into my thoughts, I do want to take a second and give a special shout out to Florida because I appreciate that they're not firing the coach. I appreciate that they're being patient and taking some time and allowing him to see if he can figure these things out. I heard on the telecast today that they were saying, Georgia's losing their quarterback, Texas is losing their quarterback, Ole Miss is losing their quarterback. So my point is I appreciate the fact that Florida has decided to give this coach some more time to figure it out because I think coaches get fired too fast. And so anyways, I just want to say I appreciate that. But let's talk about Texas. So all the things that I was worried about Texas doing, they came out, they took care of business. Yeah, you can say this Florida team isn't very good. You can say whatever you want, but we know that we watch football and there's a lot of teams that lose to teams that they shouldn't lose to. So Texas came out, took care of business. So kudos to them. I want to applaud them for the win. They actually looked good. Yours looked good. So it just looked like we were back into the flow. I said I wanted the offense that started the season to come back out of the bye week. I think I got that offense today. So I'm going to applaud them while they're here and why I get to experience that offense. And so without further ado, let me just get into the things that I really loved. Things that I loved, complementary football. I think all 3 phases of the game played well today. Now, you could look at this game and look like in the fourth quarter, and I could nitpick some things that happened in the fourth quarter, but let's be honest, the game was over in the fourth quarter. It doesn't really matter. So from the first half, starters on starters, we looked great. Our offense looked phenomenal. Our special teams looked good. Our defense looked good. Everything looked good. Everything was moving well. We looked like we knew what we were doing. We were doing all the things we needed to do. So shout out to that. Also, shout out to Alfred Collins. He had himself a game today. Shout out to Trey Moore. He had himself a game today. Shout out to Anthony Hill Jr. Those guys played very well on defense. They popped on screen multiple times. So kudos to those guys. I think they set the tone for that defense and they did not disappoint. Let's be honest. It was 35-0 at halftime. So shout out to that Texas defense for stepping up and taking care of business. The other thing I love that we get to see Arch. I like that we get to see Arch at this point in the season. Later on, yours is fine. He's healthy, but we get to see Arch get these important minutes. Anytime you have an opportunity for your backups to be able to come in and get live game reps, I love it. So it was nice to see Arch Manning run out there. It was nice to just see him do a couple of things. I feel like this game was one of those games where I didn't see us blowing out Florida, but I'm glad that we blew out Florida because it gave other guys a chance to really come in and get some game time because I think those minutes are going to come back and help us in the long run. So kudos to that. Also, shout out to Shark. Shout out to Sark for going for it on 4th and 1 on our own side of the field. I think it was a gutsy call. I think he was trying to set the tone to his team that we mean business, and it worked. And so it worked. So I get to say I love it. If it didn't work, I will have said I hated it, but it worked. And I think it kept our offense on the field. We were able to score on that drive, and it just looked good. So shout out to the Texas Longhorn football team for coming out, being ready to play, understanding the assignment and making things happen. Kudos to them. I'm super excited to see that. I'm very excited to know that out of the bye week, they can come out ready to go, ready, prepared, and extra focused. Shout out to them for that. The one thing I'll say I don't understand, but whatever, is this is what I always say about stats. I hate stats. If you look at the stats, if I think about it, I'll put them up on the screen. But if you look at the stats don't really tell you what happened in this game. So that's one thing. But I will say, I don't understand how Texas is aware that we're playing with our 3rd string quarterback, but y'all aren't ready to defend the run. But you know what? I'll just leave it where it is. When our first string defense was out there, it was 35-0, so it's fine. But how do you allow guys to run when you know they're going to run the ball? Because obviously the quarterback's out, but you know what? I will leave it where it's at and I'll just keep on moving on to the next thing. The things that I hated, penalties. Here's why I don't like penalties. I get that you might have a holding penalty. I get that you might have like a ticky-tack penalty. I don't care about those. I care about those. I don't want those, but I understand those. But the self-inflicted penalties, the false starts, the blocks in the back, the personal foul penalties, I don't like those penalties. In this game, Texas had 7 penalties for 70 yards, and I believe 5 of those penalties was either the defense doing something, a personal foul, a false start, or something ridiculous. I don't like those penalties. The holding penalties, I don't like them either, but I feel like the penalties where you can control them, I don't like them. It's kind of like free throws. How do you not make your free throws? So anytime Texas has a penalty that is a penalty that they could avoid, that is not a judgment call, because a block in the back is a block in the back. False start is a false start. Like a personal foul is a personal foul. So I hate those penalties. So I want us to stop those. So I will always talk about them. Anytime we have over 5 penalties, I will be annoyed. So just bear warning, I will be annoyed. The other thing I didn't love is watching Gibson fumble. Our running backs have to have ball security. Didn't love that. The other thing I also didn't love is that I don't know if our run defense is that great. Like, it could just be me. It could just be today. It could be, I don't know. I didn't love our run defense today. I feel like obviously anytime you run up the middle, we're fine there. It's sideline to sideline that really worries me. It's almost like we don't set the edge as well, or like we don't see that it's coming, or we get sucked in I don't know, but something about the way that we defend the run makes me nervous. And it's setting, we just don't set the edge as well. I always see the guy that's supposed to set the edge run in and not actually set the edge. And oh my gosh, I'm talking X's and O's and I'm not intending to, but I don't really love the way that we play run defense. So it could just be me. It could just be this game, but I actually don't love it. And I'm a little bit concerned about it as we head into next week and play Arkansas, but I'll talk about that later. Let me get off of this topic because my team won 49-17. So I'm not going to harp on it, but we all know how I am. And I just need to call it out so that I can feel better about it. The random thing, I actually have a question. Am I supposed to be annoyed when my kicker misses a 50-yard field goal, or is it too much to ask of him to make a 50-yard field goal? I'm not really sure how I feel about that, so I'm just going to leave it at my random. But I don't know. It's kind of weird to me that I expect my kicker to make a 50-yard field goal, and I don't really think that's fair. So I'm not going to lower my expectations. So I'll just kind of leave them and be annoyed with it. But that was kind of annoying that we missed that field goal, but it was 51 yards, so give or take, whatever. It was perfect weather though, so I don't know why he missed it, but I'll just move on. As I said before, Texas came out and took care of business. It was out of a bye week. They didn't start slow. They came prepared. Defense came to play. Offensive line looked better. I got a little worried there the first few drives, but they figured it out. I know Williams went down in this game. He did get hurt. Our starting right tackle got hurt, but he came back, and so he played. So I hope that he's fine. So listen, overall, the game was great. We won the game. It's 49-17. I don't think anybody thought we were going to win 49-17. So I really don't have anything to say. We covered the spread. You know how I feel. Good teams cover. So everything that happened was supposed to happen, and it is what it is. We got the win. The win is what we're seeking. Next week, we go on the road. We head to Arkansas. It will be a different kind of game, I think, just based off what I saw Arkansas do for the past few weeks. But it is what it is. We won the game. I'm going to say hook 'em here, and then I'm going to rant on the other side of this like I always do. But if you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. But if you want to hear me in a sped up version rant about the things I'm keeping an eye on, keep watching because it's coming up next.
The things I'm keeping an eye on, it's obvious. It's on both sides of the ball. I'm going to keep an eye on how we run the ball because our run game is not very good. I don't know what's happening with it. Talked about it in the bye week. I talked a little bit about it going into this game. But our ability to run the ball is suffering. I don't know why. I don't know how we fix it. I don't know what they can do with it. I don't know what's going on. It just didn't look good. The other thing I'm going to be looking for also is the flip side of this is can we stop the run? I didn't love what I was seeing during this game. I don't think we stopped the run very well. I know it's easy for me to say that after the game is over, but when the game is in and it's 35-0, we're clearly doing something well. So I'll give you that, but I don't know. Something about stopping the run is making me nervous. And one of the things is, let's be honest, I know coming up we're going to be playing Arkansas, and we're going to be playing a running quarterback, so I feel like I'm a little bit more on high alert because of that, but it just kind of is what it is. I'll be worried about it because that's what I do, okay? I will be worried about it. The other thing I just want to throw out here that I'm going to keep my eye out on is I didn't see a lot of Ryan Wingo today. He was out on the field, he was blocking a lot, and I hope there's nothing to that. I hope it was just one of those games where we are loaded at receiver, and so he didn't get a lot of touches, but it's definitely something I'm going to keep an eye out on, and so I'm going to be keeping an eye out on Ryan Wingo because I don't know what was happening there. I'm going to be keeping out on our ability to stop the run because I might have some concerns there, but I could be wrong. Then I'm going to keep an eye out on our run game and our ability to run the ball. When I say run the ball, I mean actual handoffs, actual design run plays where we're running the ball, because so far this season we've been a little sketchy with running the ball. So I will stop ranting and raving. We won the game. We're heading to Arkansas next week. That will present a whole different set of challenges for us, and I am super excited to be in this position that we get to go to Arkansas and we look good, and I hope this offense stays because I like this offense and I like this offensive line. But anyways, as always, hook 'em.